Vyasravasa gave away all his possessions at a sacrifice, but it was out of desire for heaven. He had a son called Nachiketas, who, although he was only a boy, had a vision of faith when the offerings were given, and thus he thought, this poor offering of cows that are too old to give milk and too weak to eat grass or drink water must lead to a world of sorrow. And he thought of offering himself, and said to his father, Father, to whom will you give me? He asked once, and twice, and 3 times, and then his father answered in anger, I will give you to death. Nachiketas. At the head of many I go, and I go in the midst of many. What may be the work of death that today must be done through me? Remember how the men of old passed away, and how those of days to come will also pass away. A mortal ripens like corn, and like corn is born again. Nachiketas had to wait 3 nights without food in the abode of Yama, the god of death. A voice is the spirit of fire. A Brahmin comes to a house. Bring the offering of water, O god of death. How unwise is the man who does not give hospitality to a Brahmin. He loses his future hopes, his past merits, his present possessions, his sons, and his all. Death. Since you have come as a sacred guest to my abode, and you have had no hospitality for 3 nights, choose then 3 boons. Nachiketas. May my father's anger be appeased, and may he remember me and welcome me when I return to him. Let this be my first boon. Death. By my power, your father will remember you and love you as before, and when he sees you free from the jaws of death, sweet will be his sleep at night. Nachiketas. There is no fear in heaven. Old age and death are not there. The good beyond both rejoice in heaven, beyond hunger and thirst and sorrow, and those in heaven attain immortality. You know, O death, that sacred fire which leads to heaven. Explain it to me, since I have faith. Be this my second boon. Death. I know, Nachiketa, is that sacred fire which leads to heaven. Listen, that fire which is the means of attaining the infinite worlds, and is also their foundation, is hidden in the sacred place of the heart. And Death told him of the fire of creation, the beginning of the worlds, and of the altar of the fire sacrifice, of how many bricks it should be built, and how they should be placed. Nachiketas repeated the teaching. Death was pleased and went on. A further boon I give you today. This fire of sacrifice shall be known by your name. Take also from me this chain of many forms. One who lights 3 times this sacred fire and attains union with the 3, performs the 3 holy actions, passes beyond life and death, for then he knows the god of fire, the god who knows all things, and through knowledge of adoration he attains the peace supreme. He who, knowing the 3, builds up the altar of fire sacrifice and performs 3 times the sacrifice of Nachiketas, casts off the bonds of death, and passing beyond sorrow finds joy in the regions of heaven. This is the fire that leads to the heaven, which you chose as the second gift. Men will call it the fire sacrifice of Nachiketas. Choose now the 3rd boon. Nachiketas, when a man dies, this doubt arises. Some say he is, and some say he is not. Teach me the truth. Death. Even the gods had this doubt in times of old, for mysterious is the law of life and death. Ask for another boon, release me from this. Nachiketas, this doubt indeed arose even to the gods, and you say, O death, that it is difficult to understand, but no greater teacher than you can explain it, and there is no other boon so great as this. Death, take horses and gold and cattle and elephants, choose sons and grandsons that shall live 100 years, have vast expanses of land, and live as many years as you desire. Choose another gift that you think equal to this, and enjoy it with wealth and long life. Be a ruler of this vast earth. I will grant you all your desires. Ask for any wishes in the world of mortals, however hard to obtain. To attend on you, I will give you fair maidens with chariots and musical instruments, but ask me not, Nachikitas, the secrets of death. Nachikitas, all these pleasures pass away, O end of all. They weaken the power of life, and indeed how short is all life. Keep thy horses and dancing and singing. Men cannot be satisfied with wealth. Shall we enjoy wealth? With you in sight shall we live whilst you are in power. I can only ask for the boon I have asked. When a mortal here on earth has felt his own immortality, could he wish for a long life of pleasures, for the lust of deceitful beauty? Solve then the doubt as to the great beyond. Grant me the gift that unveils the mystery. This is the only gift Nachikitas can ask. That there is the path of joy, and there is the path of pleasure. Both attract the soul. Who follows the first comes to good. Who follows pleasure reaches not the end. The two paths lie in front of man. Pondering on them, the wise man chooses the path of joy. The fool takes the path of pleasure. You have pondered, Nachikitas, on pleasures, and you have rejected them. You have not accepted that chain of possessions wherewith men bind themselves, and beneath which they sink. There is the path of wisdom and the path of ignorance. They are far apart and lead to different ends. You are, Nachikitas, a follower of the path of wisdom. Many pleasures tempt you not. Abiding in the midst of ignorance, thinking themselves wise and learned, fools go aimlessly hither and thither, like blind led by the blind. What lies beyond life shines not to those who are childish. Or careless, or deluded by wealth. This is the only world. There is no other, they say, unless they go from death to death. Not many hear of him, and of those not many reach him. Wonderful is he who can teach about him, and wise is he who can be taught. Wonderful is he who knows him when taught. He cannot be taught by one who has not reached him, and he cannot be reached by much thinking. The way to him is through a teacher who has seen him. He is higher than the highest thoughts, and truth above all thought. This sacred knowledge is not attained by reasoning, but it can be given by a true teacher. As your purpose is study, you have found him. May I find another people like you? I know that treasures pass away, and that the eternal is not reached by the transient. I have thus laid the fire of sacrifice of Nachikitas, and by burning in it the transient, I have reached the eternal. Before your eyes have been spread, Nachikitas, the fulfillment of all desire, the dominion of the world, the eternal reward of ritual, the shore where there is no fear, the greatness of fame, boundless spaces, with strength and wisdom, you have renounced them all. When the wise rests his mind in contemplation on our God beyond time, who invisibly dwells in the mystery of things and in the heart of man,